Welcome back to Notes from the Shelf, where every book finds its reader. I'm Sarah, and I'm going through my spring TBR bingo results. I did finally get a bingo. This is the first bingo I've gotten since I've started doing these bingo challenges, so super excited about that. Here was the card and what I've got accomplished, and I'll go through each book. So for flowers on the cover, I'm counting this. It has one flower, but I'm counting it. It's Landing Like Rain, a collection of poems and short stories, love poems, by Audrey Wilson. I really liked this. It's a very short collection, but it does kind of talk about heartbreak and coming back together and love, and not just romantic love. There's some like platonic love, self-love. So I did really enjoy this. And I did do an author interview with her, so you can check out the blog for that. I'll link the interview in the description. But I really liked it, and it was very nice, like short read while it was kind of storming outside. It was very like atmospheric, so I liked that. So next one was Animal Character. So this one is Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett. This one, I did enjoy. There's a lot of cats in here. Actually, there's maybe two or three that are really like central to the plot, actually. So I did enjoy that they are kind of their own characters in this. I will say it was more cozy fantasy than like the Emily Wilde series, which I kind of struggle with the cozy fantasy because it's a little boring sometimes. So I did get a little bored with this one just because it's a little slower. But overall, it was still a good read. I think I gave it like 4 stars still. So if you're interested in that, check out reading this book. But that's what I read for Animal Character. For romance, I read I've Got My Mind Set on Brew by Stephanie Jane. I also did an author interview with her. I got this book, I think from like the Grayslake book fair, like I don't know, 2 years ago maybe almost. So I finally got around to reading it. It was very cute. I would say it's very like slow burn. I'm gonna review it for July, so watch out for that. But I don't know. I just felt like a little too slow burn. I mean, I think it says that on the back, so it wasn't really what I wanted to read, but I needed like to read a romance, and I really don't have that many romances on my TBRs. It was cute though. I would say though, the main guy, like he is the son of a billionaire, and then she is like a server at a bar in like I forget what the area was, like in the Chicago area. It wasn't Logan Square. I don't know, somewhere. I really don't remember, but I just thought like cuz she like took public transportation, she didn't have a car, like just, you know, living paycheck to paycheck in a lot of debt because of like some other issue she had with like a past boyfriend where she paid for his schooling and then he dumped her. So she's like really having a hard time, and then he's just some billionaire son that comes in and buys like the brewery that she's working at, and then they fall in love. Like I'm supposed to believe that? I don't know. It was like a little almost like too slow of like she hates him, and then suddenly like they're getting together and he likes her too. Like I don't know. It was a little I'm not sure if this makes sense, but it was just a little out of nowhere for me. So I did enjoy it. Like I finished it. It was pretty fast read, but I wish it wasn't so slow burn. But that again is my fault because it does say it on the back that it's slow burn. So I don't know if you like slow burn, you might like this. I will be giving a full review on the blog, so watch out for that. But that was my romance pick. For a hopeful story, I ended up reading Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. The history and persistence of our deadliest infection. Um, I don't know, most people, when you first think of this, is probably not like super hopeful, but he does focus on a couple different people that like he has encountered himself that had tuberculosis, and some of them are doing better now. But at the end of the day, it was like, we can fix this. We can solve this. We can like eradicate this. We just have to like care enough to like get it to places that don't have the resources. So it does kind of end on a hopeful note, so I am counting it, but you can debate with me if you want, if this isn't really a hopeful read. We are reading it for my book club in July, so I'm really interested to see their take on it, but that's what I'm counting as a hopeful read. Next was Featuring a Hunt. This I could see it not counting, but I did count it. It's my challenge, so I'm gonna do what I want, but it's My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. I don't know, I'm counting it as a hunt because you are like looking for who this person is like this whole time. And I mean, some lady does like run away and stuff. So I don't know. Is it like really what I thought of when I put this like TBR bingo together? No, honestly. So maybe it shouldn't count, but I just went ahead and counted it, and it's not part of the area that I did end up getting a bingo on, so I'm fine with that. And it's like another book off my TBR shelf, so at least I did read it, and it's off my shelf now. Um, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it. I think I already did review it on the blog, but I think the twists, I did see some of the twists coming, and some of it I was like, oh my God, what is happening? What the hell? So, like the whole time I was like, I have to keep reading because I'm like, I have no idea what's happening. So I kind of liked that aspect, but I could see how people would not like that. If like each chapter you're like, what just happened? And you're like, have to read more because it was a little confusing. But I liked it. Um, and I think I'll keep it. But it was a good read. I would say I liked maybe Beautiful Ugly a little more, but that's the first one I've read of hers. Well, actually, no, that's not true. I think I read like Rock, Paper, Scissors like a long time ago, but yeah, this counts as a hunt, I guess. Kind of. I'm counting it. Next one is nature themed. So this was another poetry collection I ended up reading. It's called Pieces of Water: Reflections on Living in Light by Sarah Rhinelander. I actually picked up this book when I went to Maine for vacation, like I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago at this point, maybe more than that. I don't remember exactly, but it's been sat on my shelf, and it is a very like thin book. So it wasn't even on my TBR shelf. It was on my poetry collection shelf, but I did end up reading it. It does have a lot of like reflections, of course, like with nature surrounding it. So I'm gonna count it for this. And yeah, I really did enjoy it. Um, there were some like religious aspects to it, but it was more like philosophy and kind of like Buddhist thinking. But there were some mentions of God too, so I don't know. I get a little weird about that. If you don't know why, maybe go look at my podcast with my brother, the first episode, so then you'll understand more. It's called The Paranoid Perspective. But I don't know, just sometimes when it's like too like God centric, I kind of shut that off a little bit. But this, it was more like philosophy, and I enjoyed that. And it's kind of, the universe, and I mean God is the universe. The universe is God. That's kind of what I believe, but this kind of reflected a little bit of how I view it, so it was not like totally like Christian view. So I don't know if that makes sense. If what I'm saying, I don't know, but I did really like it, and it's more like reflecting on living and living your best life. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't know. Okay. Birds on the Cover was another one. This I'm counting as well. I guess I kind of am cheating at this, but it has one bird on the cover, so I'm counting it. Before I Forget by Tori Hinwood Hohen. Also, all the ones that I maybe shouldn't have counted do not count for my bingo. So I'm counting it, but I really liked this a lot actually. It's so a woman, I think she's 26 or 25, I don't know, she's pretty young still, but her dad is diagnosed with dementia and she ends up taking care of him at the end of his life for like the last year of his life. And her older sister had been the caretaker for a long time, but then she ended up moving like to Sweden or something. I don't remember. She moved overseas with a fiance, and so this woman, she's kind of between careers. She doesn't really like her job or anything, so she just kind of cuts it all off and goes and helps with him for the last year. And it's kind of her reconnecting with him and reflections on dementia. And there's kind of a magical realism element where he is kind of predicting the future a little bit, or like he's kind of like there's a couple things that happen that she just thinks, oh, you don't know what you're talking about because you have dementia, but then it becomes like true later, and she's like, oh, he can actually like tell the future maybe a little bit because of this disease. I don't know, it's interesting how that kind of, like, you think you're losing your mind, or like people think they're losing their minds, but it's like that is reality to them, and it is like sad, but this was also like a hopeful book, I would say. So, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna be reviewing it again pretty soon in July, so watch out for that on the blog. But this was birds on the cover. Just one, but I'm counting it. Next was nonfiction. So I got From Dreams to Reality: How to Make a Living as a Freelance Writer by Jessie L. Quack. Um, I actually thought this had a lot of good information. It's really thin, like short. And it was written more recently, I think like 2024, 2023. So a little bit more information that's like actually relevant today on how to make a living writing. And I am like looking at doing that, of course. So there were some good tips that I liked. I will be keeping this as a reference guide, but I'm glad I read through the whole thing at least once so I know kind of what information is in here. I will say, like, any of the guides that are before 2020, I just do not read because it's like so irrelevant at this point. Like, so much has changed since then. So I'm glad this was written like just 3 years ago. So it feels like more advice that I could actually follow. So, and then magical realism. I just finished this like a couple days ago, just in time for the challenge to end. The challenge ended, well, it ends, this will probably go up before that, but it ends on the 20th of June for the first day of summer. But I read The Husbands by Holly Gramazio for magical realism. I loved this book. I'm going to be reviewing it soon too, but maybe I'll make a video of the ones that I'm going to review too, but it will be on the blog. So go to the blog, subscribe to the blog if you want the review for this like sooner. But I absolutely loved this book. It was like so different from what I thought. I've been kind of holding on to this. I think it was what? April of 2024. Oh my God. I thought it was like more recent than that. I kind of forgot how long ago I got it. So I've been sitting on this for a long time and it just kind of was like, maybe it just will be okay. This is so good. This is such a good book. Like, honestly, I don't know. I was so surprised. Just the idea of a husband goes up in the attic and a new one comes down, and she was not married before. So she is kind of deciding what husband does she like. And you can get real nitpicky about it, of course, but there are some moments where it's like, ooh, this is scary actually, where she has to get him back in the attic and like trick him basically. So there were definitely moments where it was like real, and people deal with that for sure, like domestic violence. And she's lucky that she can just trick him into the attic and get a new husband that's better for her. So I was a little surprised by some of those things that came out. And there's some other like little twists too that are like, oh my God, like of course that would happen, but I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's so good and it's not what I thought it would be at all. So I'm glad I read it. definitely a 5 star from me, and I will give like a more review later that has like spoilers, but I don't want to say too much here because it will spoil it a little bit. So, and then the last book I read for the bingo was The East Wind by Alexandria Warwick. This is the last of the Four Winds series, and I got the Once Upon a Book Club version of it because I have the other ones. You can kind of see it back there, the other ones. So I wanted to make sure this matched. And I thought it was really good. I thought it was a good conclusion to the book. I mean, my review of the box and the book is already up on the blog if you want to look at that more. But I don't know, I thought it like culminated the other 3 stories together. The first 2 are kind of like standalone. You could read those without having read the other ones. But then the third one, it kind of brings in elements of the second one, so you kind of do need to read it. And then it ends kind of on a cliffhanger. So then this one finishes it out and like answers all the questions that was in the third one. So I would say they're not really standalone at this point. I don't know if she still like says they are, but I would read it all as a series. But I think it's very good conclusion. It wraps up everything nicely and just the way everything like comes together, it was very satisfying. So those are the books I read for the bingo. So I did make a summer bingo card here. Um, it's like a cute little pool with little floaties in it. I had a hard time like deciding the floaties. I was trying to make like fruit floaties or like watermelon floaties and stuff, but you could not read the text then. So this is what I landed on. It does kind of look like lifesavers too, but you can get your version of this for free to print off in the description. And I'll also link like the post because that'll have a link in it too to like download the PDF and print it off yourself if you want to join in. So I usually do from first day of like the first season to the next day of the next season. So this will be from the first day of summer to the first day of fall, which I think is September 20th or maybe 21st. So, plenty of time to try and get a bingo. We'll see if I get one. Like I said, the first time I've ever gotten one was the spring one, and I've been doing this for a year now. So, it's fun. I like it. But let me know if you join in and let me know if you get a bingo and what you read for summer. But that's it for this video. If you liked this video, be sure to like it, share it with another book lover, subscribe for new videos. I do definitely make like book of the month videos, but I'm trying to make at least 1 to 2 other videos throughout the month. So stay tuned for that. There's a lot more content on the blog, of course. I post 2 times a week there, so go check it out and also subscribe there so you're not missing out on anything. Also, I did start a podcast for Notes from the Shelf called Notes from the Shelf. If you want to listen instead of watch, that does go up every single Wednesday at 7 a.m. Central Time. So there is more content for that as well. I'm trying to do around 15-minute things, but some of them end up being a little less. 15 to 30 is kind of what I'm aiming for. Some have ended up more than 30 minutes as well. So but that'll be every single week, so that's a little more consistent than my YouTube channel. If you want to go check that out, it's on most podcasting platforms there. If you want to check out any of these books that I talked about, then you can check out my affiliate link for bookshop.org. Any purchase made there helps the blog out, so I'd really appreciate it if you want to buy it through them, but I understand if you can't, or, check your library too. I'm sure your library has some of these books. Check out the other links in the description as well, and until next time, happy reading!